Hello, everybody. Hope you're well and safe. Once again, welcome to Let's Talk More with Romail Gulzar. Today, my studio guest is lady from Leicester, born brought up in Leicester, grew up in Leicester, left home age of 17 due to race, color, caste, and mixing with other culture. Let's find out more. Stay tuned. Let's talk more. Priti, thank you very much for speaking to us and welcome to Let's Talk More. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Thank you for inviting me and giving me the opportunity. I am a therapist. Really, I'm known as a body worker, so I work more with the body than the mind. And my parents are Asian Sikhs, and I have two brothers, and I'm married with two daughters.
As you're speaking to over the phone a few weeks back, and we have a very deep conversation, and you told me, and you left age of 17 at home. Just tell us a bit about why you left when you were age 17.
Yeah, so I'm going back quite a few years, going back about 40 years now, when everything was, geared around tradition and culture. And having two brothers, my two brothers were always, thought of highly than myself. So I was placed under quite a lot of restrictions and strictness. So 3 days before my 17th birthday, I just decided that I didn't want to be treated the way I was treated. So, from about the age of 6, I felt that I never fitted into the culture or that way of life. So, I had quite a lot of family problems, really, just caused through strictness and bit of violence and no support. So, yeah, just decided to go one day, just packed up and went, really just. I suppose it goes really with the kind of work that I do because I always felt that I wasn't loved and accepted. And so for me, it was important to honor the person that I was and try and go and find what I needed to survive. And that really for me meant leaving the Asian family.
So, how family reacted when you decided to leave home?
Oh, it was a big it was a big hoo-ha really because I was the first Asian girl to leave home and basically run away from home. And so there was a lot of stigma attached to it. And, years and years later, you think that you can go back and reconcile things with your parents and with your family. But at that moment in time, it was just taboo. My mum wasn't allowed to speak to me. And basically, the whole family and the extended family just turned their backs on me because I'd brought shame to the family.
Tell me a bit more why you think age of 17 this family culture is not suitable for you.
Um, so for me, when I was 6 years old, my life changed, when my dad told me that I couldn't play outside in the street with my friends and stuff. And that my purpose really was to be inside the house, to cook and look after the rest of the family. I always knew that I was a good person, even at the age of 6. And I just felt that I had so much more to offer to my family and, other people. At the age of 17, it got to the stage where, I'm going back to the 1970s. Most of my friends were white. Not so much my mum, but my dad, even though he'd been in the Indian Army and stuff, he was quite strict, and there was quite a lot of racism. There was a lot of racism against Indian people. But what I found was that there was quite a lot of racism within our communities. And, my father used to say to me, you can't mix with the whites. And for me, that was against everything that I believed in because most of my friends were white. And so when it got to the stage that I was 16, I was offered an arranged marriage. And I had seen my mum's reaction, and what she coped with within the arranged marriage and stuff. And I just knew it wasn't for me. I just knew that if it's an arranged marriage, you fall in love with someone and then you ask to marry that person, that's one thing. But then to be forced into a way of life where, as a girl, you actually have no life. You are just a servant for the rest of your days. So for me, it was a no.
Priti, I think so. Your soldier came out from all these challenges, left home age of 17, and face dishonor, not seeing your loved one for God, 40 years, as you said.
Mhm.
What magic and how you come out from all this?
I always knew I was a good person, and sometimes when I've done all my courses and spiritual work, I always seem to start at the age of 6, and I think that's my earliest recollection of being a good soul inside. So I always hung on to that. And is there any magic? The only magic is knowing that you're a good soul and just keeping that in focus, and kind of turning off the voices that you hear in your head or that you're told all the time that you're not good enough. It's how do you cope with that? And it's having that belief in yourself and not having that inner voice that constantly says to you, well, maybe they're right. And they're not right because we're born as sentient beings. We don't know about hate. We don't know about lies. We don't know. All we know is love and to be nurtured. So I always hung on to that.
So you think in this modern days, these things still exist in Punjabi culture?
Very much so. Very much so. And I think a lot of it is, kind of washed under the carpet. And um, I, my own experiences, the people that I treat and the people that I help, I find a lot of the time that there's a persona that's portrayed to the public, and then there's what goes on behind closed doors. So I tend to deal with what goes on behind closed doors and to help people. And, some people will say it's culture, it's tradition, but, things are changing. But it always seems that when it suits a certain person, then culture and tradition, that card is out in front. But when it doesn't suit them, then they all want to fit into the community that, they're a part of.
So what's your biggest challenge was with living with family? Because was you going out and about, or you was hanging around with white English people?
Okay, so I never was the one that was out and about. For me, what I wanted to do was just live a normal life. So I studied really hard. I was able to be put forward for teacher training, college, and stuff. And my parent, not so much my mum, but my dad, just assumed that as a girl, I was just chattel. So I didn't have a brain. But the silly thing is that out of my siblings, I am the one that's actually achieved more than my own brothers, and I think because of my dad's upbringing and his beliefs, it was basically to have a girl that was subservient.
So they want to be try to fix you with their own cost system.
Yeah, yeah, within the caste system, we're Punjabis. My parents are Jats, and you weren't you were brought up to believe that you weren't allowed to marry carpenters, untouchables, and also you weren't allowed to mix with Jamaicans, Muslims. So there was a lot of restrictions. Now, for me, my rebellion wasn't against restrictions. For me, it was just to be loved for the person that I was. So all my life I looked for the love of my parents, and I just wanted to um for them just to accept me for who I was, not, somebody that they just had that would be a burden to them, that they would have to pay a dowry to go, to send me off, to just then forget about me so that I became somebody else's problem.
So you think caste system, especially in Britain and especially in Leicester, is very diverse. People still believe in.
Yes. Yeah. People still live their lives through the caste system when it suits them. You know, when it suits them, they will pull the cast card out, but when it doesn't, they will mix with everybody and anybody. Unfortunately, in the Asian community, it just seems that men are allowed to think and behave the way that they want to. But you get an Asian woman trying to stand up and assert any kind of authority or any kind of opinion, then, they're looked down upon. So that in itself is a caste system, so sexism, if you like. Um, yeah.
What people can do to tackle this issue, especially in the Asian community?
It is really hard, isn't it? Because we just don't talk about it. Because there's always this thing in the community, oh, I don't want people talking about me. So for me, I like to try and say to people, give give people space to be how they want to be and let everybody have an opinion and live their life. As long as it doesn't affect you, then just talk. Just talk and honor what your feelings are. It doesn't always have to be about fighting against each other, even if it's verbally and mentally. You can reach certain things in your life by conversation and communication.
You faced a lot of challenge, left home, very young age, and come out with very successful woman. So now I'm going to talk about your business journey. Describe when you say body work. Can you describe what is included in body work, please?
So it is literally working with the body. There's a lot of mind-based therapies out there, and for people that are struggling with tension and trauma, they don't find it very easy to talk about what they're going through. And so when you have something, when your body goes into a state of shock, your nervous system goes into fight, fright, or flight. And when that happens, there's a load of hormones that go around your body. But we've forgotten how to release those hormones. We don't have the right tools now. So I basically teach people how to get rid of the stress and tension. So you can go around holding your body really tight, really rigid, that then leads to other kinds of inflammatory conditions and, mental health as well. So you start to suffer from anxiety, depression, all sorts of things.
You think an average person, especially in COVID-19, all this pandemic, everybody's panicking. Out of 5 people, how many people are suffering in mental health?
I think everybody's suffering from mental health at the moment because there's a lot of fear at the moment. We really don't know which way to turn. And so there's a lot of disassociation going on. And when people start to disassociate, it actually helps them to cope with what's going on. So even people that say that COVID-19 hasn't affected me, somehow mentally it will have affected you. You just probably don't realize it at the minute. And I think, as the restrictions of COVID-19 ease off and we try and get back into a state of normality as we know it, I think there will be a lot of people that will be turning to for help for mental issues.
So now we can see lovely smile on your face as you giving people plenty of smiles in through your job, and that's great work, especially during COVID-19. What's your final message to people watching this?
The help's out there. Don't feel alone. Don't feel alone. Don't judge yourselves. Be kind to yourself. Don't judge others either. Just reach out. Whatever you need, it's available. The biggest step is to reach out and ask for what you need. And sometimes you don't need to talk about it. You just need somebody to be in the room with you. I'm available, even if it's just for a chat. Work's very quiet at the minute because we're all living in that little fear bubble. There's lots of other therapists and people that are there for you to chat as well. So just go down the phone book, pick the phone up
And chat to Priti.
and chat to Priti.
Priti, thank you much for speaking to us, and
Thank
we
you.
wish you good luck and stay safe. And Best of luck for many years to come, for happiness and help many people. And I
Thank you.
believe you're a soldier and you're a hero for the local community and for many more around the world.
Thank you. And thank you for everybody that has, the belief in what I do. But, my success comes from seeing other people having, a life worth living. And that's really important to me. So
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We will see you next week again with a new guest with a new life story. I hope we all learned something new today from Preeti's life story. Left home, age of 17, and come out from all these challenges and created accessible business and helping others. So stay tuned. Let's talk more.